Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Knits and Pieces podcast. I'm Kelly, and this is my friend.
I'm Noelle.
And we are coming to you today with a recorded podcast, not our usual live. This was filmed in advance, and we are airing this on a regular Tuesday night knit chat because future Noelle will be recovering from surgery.
Yes.
And so we wish her all the best, but we're doing this today. And this is, we're going to have a little bit of a chat about vests today because we are introducing a new make-along in our channel, and it is called
Make a Vest, Give Sleeves a Rest.
Give Sleeves a Rest.
I think in the last little while, like even in like, I don't know, maybe like last year or so, I'm really seeing a lot more vests in fashion, and they are pretty versatile. And there's lots of different shapes, lots of different sizing fits, lots of different yarns that you can knit them in. And we've had a lot of interest from our viewers that said that they would like to get into
We're going to have we're going to have a guest co-host today. Her name is Roxy.
Did you want a vest?
She's super annoying, and this is her spot on the couch. So
I know, and I'm in her spot.
You're in her spot.
But anyway, so we thought that that would be a great idea, and it's, you know, it's wintertime, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. It's wintertime right now, and anytime you get it done, you could be wearing it. But I think a vest is a great kind of switch over season type garment as well, because it's not quite as warm as wearing a full sweater with sleeves, so you can wear it into the spring and then back again in the fall. So probably the only time that you maybe won't wear it is, you know, if you've knit a really woolly one, you're probably not going to wear it in the middle of summer.
No, but if it's a lighter weight, you can always just forego any of the layers and wear it as a summer shell as well. So it is incredibly versatile. And it, being a vest, we're going to go through a few of the vests that we've made, and then we're going to give you a list of maybe some inspirational suggestions of something you could do.
Yeah, we just kind of looked through and kind of picked out ones that kind of, I don't know, that may not be ones that you've seen in the forefront. And we thought, look, interesting. Now, a disclaimer is a lot of these we have not knit before, so we're not, you know, we can't attest to them being, but they're definitely ones that I would like to try.
Yes, these are just patterns that speak to us.
Yes.
That maybe are in our future and maybe in yours.
Yeah, and we've tried to look at a variety of different styles, different yarn weights. We've even got a couple of crochet ones that you might be interested in.
Yes.
So.
Okay, well.
Do you want to start with what we have made? I haven't made very many. I've made one, and I'm currently making a second.
And I've actually made two, and I'm working on a third. So for the purposes of this make-along, a vest, or I know that
a slipover.
A slipover. There are a lot of other people that call them slipovers. We call them vests. So is a sleeveless garment, and we're going to start from there and show you what we have.
Okay. So you have a couple, Kelly, so you start.
Yay, I never get to start. I've never had more things than Noelle. So I will start.
I'm going to go home and knit another one right now.
Yeah, yours will be finished by the time this is done. So I'll start with the first one that I knit. And this is the Always Vest by Anna Daku, who is Bluebird Box Knits.
I think it's Bluebird Box. We're going to have, there will be show notes, and there will be all the information. And if we have projects, it will be linked to our project pages. If not, anything we discuss will be linked to the pattern page in Ravelry.
So this was my first foray into the vest world, and something that I was looking for was something with a bit of a narrow shoulder construction. So I did modify this one ever so slightly. I removed a few stitches from here. But this was actually, it called for a worsted weight, and I paired drops alpaca with Holst Super Soft.
Oh, it feels amazing.
And it does.
It does.
It's amazing how soft it is. And this one I've worn a lot. I wear it with jeans and a shirt, or I wear it over a dress. And it has a really interesting detail. That's something that I do find in quite a few vest patterns, that there is often a detail going down the side. And this one is a really interesting detail because it's quite patterned. And it also has a really nice detail around the armholes. It's a 2x2 rib. I think it's a 2. Yeah, it's a 2x2. but it also has a bit of a garter stitch detail as well. And it is quite cropped, but I mean, you could make the
Yeah,
vest
but it looks
any length.
when you wear it, it looks great with the dress. It looks great like over top of a like if you've got a shirt just underneath it, like a button-down shirt. You could wear that. You could actually wear that like sleeveless, like with a blazer over top.
Absolutely. Yeah, this
So-
one you could. I mean, it's a little bit heavy maybe for summer because of the alpaca and the
Yeah,
the wool,
I
but
think it's worn, but it's really not that heavy, really.
no, it's not heavy.
Not for a what was the pattern, say a worsted weight gauge?
Worsted, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. To me, it's not what I would think of as typical worsted weight,
No.
like a heavier weight.
And it's got like the fabric's got lots of drape. So
absolutely. So that was my first one, and I wear it
Yeah.
a lot.
Well,
it's-
and that's such a
it's
great
perfect
color because it
neutral
goes
color.
with, yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know I have to knit more neutrals, but I don't want to knit the neutral. I just want to wear the neutral.
I want to have them, but they don't bring me joy when I'm knitting them. Although this one did because it had the pattern down the
Yeah,
side, so
yeah.
it kind of had a lot of things going on. But okay,
Okay.
let's see one of yours.
So my only vest this time. This is
And I have to say that sounds so funny to hear you say the only anything knitting that you have because I mean you're such a prolific knitter.
I just like I said, there's been more patterns come out, I would say recently that I really like. And actually until I saw you wearing them and seeing the versatility of how you can wear one, like I guess I wasn't really thinking about how you would wear it because typically like back, I don't know, years ago, like your typical vest was just like you never had something underneath it. You
No.
didn't wear it with a dress. It wasn't, the versatility wasn't there,
No.
right? So
And I think we fall into maybe a little bit of a styling trap in that it's easier to have the sweater because you don't need to style anything
That's
with
right.
it.
You don't have to
just
worry
have to
about-
decide what's going on
That's right.
underneath it. But with a vest, I mean, there's so
well,
many
with a
other
vest,
options.
you're going to see what's on underneath it, right? Whereas with a sweater, you could have a camisole, it doesn't matter what color it is or what it looks like or whatever under your sweater. But with your vest, you're thinking more about what's the
base,
blouse
yes.
or turtleneck or whatever I'm going to put underneath it. But it's so nice now that you're seeing so many vests that are not just over top of blouses or dresses. Like even like a lot of them look nice just over a plain t-shirt. So,
Yeah.
and you don't have to knit sleeves. It's like a great thing.
Give sleeves a rest.
That's right. Okay, so my only vest is my Friday slipover, and this is a pattern by Petite Knit, and it is a broken rib design, which I love knitting broken rib. And this one is done in Moondrake Cormo DK, which we got in Mount Kisco at Pick Up Every Stitch.
And this was a new base for her.
A new base for her, and the color is called Red Velvet. And this took exactly 2 skeins.
Exactly.
So exactly. In fact, like the neckband of this, if you go to the pattern, is actually a folded over neckband. So I've just actually done a few rows and I didn't fold it over. And actually, I don't know that I would have wanted it folded over because in a DK weight, this is, it's heavy enough. And then again, just the little 1x1 rib around the armhole edge. I've done a sewn Italian bind off. Same with at the bottom. Yeah, and I just, it is versatile. I actually have a blouse that I actually have not hardly ever worn until I got this vest, and the vest looks really good over top of it. So, yeah, so I'm happy with that. Petite Knit also does have a V-neck version of this vest,
that I want to knit.
and it's calls for a DK weight yarn, or I believe that in the V-neck version she does it with a fingering weight held with a mohair, so you've got that option as well. She also, in the V-neck version, shows like the rib on the V-neck and around the armbands in a contrast to what the body of the vest has done. So there's lots of options with doing that pattern. And the broken rib is nice because you kind of get a more fitted shape.
Yes.
So like this particular vest is a little bit more fitted, but I've only knit it to, basically I think it comes to the top of my hip bone.
But it
does have a lot of
it has
stretch
a
because
lot
of the
stretch.
broken rib.
Yes, because yeah.
So, and she does wonderful detailing in doing your increases to get out to the full size of the vest. It is a top-down construction. So,
I really like the details around the armhole. That has been what spoke to me on this vest from the beginning. It gives you such a professional looking garment when you're done. It's sort of seamless.
yeah,
how
and
it-
I
how
think
it
the V-neck
develops.
version is basically identical to this other than
a V-neck.
And the V's not super deep either.
No, it's
and
not.
I mean, that is
It's
something
not.
that you can adjust too. If you want it deeper, you can make it deeper. If you want it to come up a little higher, you can do that as well. So, okay, so that's my one and only.
Your one and only. But it's soon to have friends.
It is soon to
have friends. So then the next one that I made, and this one was sort of a recent finish, and we've talked a lot about it on Knit Chat because I really enjoyed making it. And this was also out of the Moondrake yarn, but the Corriedale DK.
Yes, and we do definitely think that that the Corriedale is lighter than the Cormo.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because even like in my broken
broken
rib parts,
rib,
it feels a little different than yours.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So, and this colorway is
gorgeous. What was it called again?
It's burnt carrot, roasted carrot. No, it's something.
Was it pumpkin?
Or was it roasted?
It's not pumpkin because pumpkin was your coastal crop.
Yes. So
it's orange.
It's orange. I'm going to put the colorway underneath here, and. So I also got this yarn, I ordered this yarn at Pick Up Every Stitch on our Rhinebeck weekend. They had a store sample actually done in this colorway, in that vest.
In this vest, yes.
And myself and a few other people bought this color because it just jumped off the sample model.
Well, I would have bought that color, but they didn't have it in stock, and I wanted to start that day.
And she wanted to start it that day, yes. But I really liked it, and I'm telling you, I would never have walked into a store and chosen this color and said, "This is the color that I want to work with." But honestly, having
that
finished
color
it,
looks amazing on you.
Well, thank you. But I also find that it feels very neutral. As bold a color as this is, there's a lot of things in my wardrobe. My big fear always of wearing orange is, don't pair it with anything black because it will look very Halloween-like. But I've actually paired it with quite a few different things, and I really, really like it. So I wouldn't hesitate on this color again. So the pattern, by the way, is the Riptide Vest by Jennifer Shields Toland, and it has, the pattern is on the back as well. And then it again has the broken rib, the same as the Friday slipover, but it's a split hem, and I love a good split hem, especially in a vest. I really think that's a fantastic design detail. It gives nice shaping under the arms, and again, like you can see here, where I'm incorporating that vest, the arm side into the garment. It's a really nice finish, and I like the nice finishes on a garment. I think
little details that really make the overall project look more professional.
Yes, absolutely. And then the broken rib carries down into the hem as well. And it's, as I said, it's really, really versatile. It does have those narrow shoulders that I like, although I've chosen some to talk about later today that are off the shoulder. So
it's just a different look, right?
I'm ready to break some of my own rules and try something new and different. But I do love this pattern. Jennifer has a few garments in this little riptide pattern that we've become
addicted to,
slightly obsessed with. Yes, just slightly obsessed. And so from there, I've made gloves. I'm working on a scarf. You've made gloves and a scarf.
And socks.
I've made socks. You've made socks with the riptide pattern in it. It's a fun little stitch. It's very easy to do. It's very engaging, and this was an easy knit to do. But she gives great instructions,
which you should read.
Which you should. Because I pointed something out to Noelle yesterday, and she's working on the same vest.
We'll move into I am working on a riptide slipover as well. So mine looks so small because I got it on this little needle, but it's not block jet either, right? So mine, I am using the Knitting Loft Mesa in the color dark teal, and I love this color.
And this
is
a sport weight yarn.
Color.
So
this is a sport weight yarn.
It is a lighter yarn.
So I did actually do a gauge swatch, believe it or not. I did a gauge swatch. So I am doing a bigger size than I would normally do because I believe that the pattern stitch gauge is 22 stitches, and I believe that mine is 24. So I did the math and figured out what size I needed to make. So yeah,
I will say there's a really easy spot in the pattern to adjust things if you found that don't get discouraged. So like if you cast this on and you found, you did a little sample try on once you got down and you joined into the body and you found, hey, it's just a little snugger than I would like, you could, or it's a little too loose, you could, this broken rib section under here, you could either increase some extra stitches there or decrease some stitches. So it's a really nice spot in the pattern if you do need to do any modifications.
So anyway, so I got the back. It starts with the back. I got the back done, and it's a beautiful pattern in the fact that it incorporates the armbands right into the pattern, so you don't have to go back and pick up stitches for the armband. And then when I got to this part here, I thought, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And I did knit one purl, one rib, not realizing it was broken rib until I was talking to Kelly on the phone last night, and she's like, no, it's broken rib. And I'm like, and I had to go back. And luckily I only had 7 rows done, so I was able to go back without ripping it back and just fix all those stitches.
And then you had me second guessing
into the broken rib pattern.
Did I do broken rib on that vest? So I had to go and get the vest, and I'm like, yes, it's a broken rib for sure.
So anyways, read the pattern.
Read the pattern. Note to self.
I should have read the pattern. I just thought, yeah, I know what those 4 rows are.
Yeah, you get to a spot where you think you know what you're doing, and you just carry on. Having said that, you know what? It probably would have looked really good with the rib as well.
I just don't know that. I like how the broken rib kind of gives you a little bit more room, whereas the rib kind of tends to like suck it. It probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
But then I would have had to do all my bottom rib in regular rib as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So anyway, and I really do like broken ribs, so... So, because I was thinking, I remember like Kelly's fingerless gloves. They did have broken ribs, so why does this not? Anyway, I'm very happy with how it's going now. Happy with the yarn. This is the Knitting Loft's Mesa, which is a non-superwash Peruvian Highland wool, and I have not even. I do have 2 skeins of it. I did the back, and then I did the front. So I did the front with one ball, the back with the other ball. And honestly, where I joined up everything up, I cannot tell. So I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to alternate or not in the body of
I did want to talk about
sweater.
that. That was one of the questions that somebody had asked me. Did I alternate skeins? So this one, for me, took 2.3 skeins of the Moondrake. So I had to break into that third ball. I didn't get it finished. So what I did, as you said, so you knit the back, and then you knit each side, and then you join under the arms. So I did want to alternate the skeins. So what I did, out of skein 1, I did the front back. Out of skein 2, I did both of these pieces, and then when I joined in the skeins that I already had open, I knew that I couldn't do helical knitting because there's so much pattern on the vest. So what I did is I just carried my 2 yarns down the side, and I found a good spot to do it, I thought. So I'm carrying it right down this back panel here, and that's all I did. I just twisted the yarn each time I got to it, and you can see the line, but I mean, it's very well hidden inside the sweater construction. It's just that one yarn carried down. But having said that, once I got down to where I had to break into that next skein, it was just above the ribbing. And you know what? Honestly, I didn't even notice any difference.
Guess, but the point is you don't want to not do it. And then so I probably will, like I've got an inch done now, I probably will join in my other ball and do the same thing. And I think when you join it in where you've got a texture difference, you really can't see it. It's more when if you're in plain stocking stitch all the way around, that helical is better, because then you don't see that line. But if you join it where there's a texture break, you really don't see it when you carry it down. So I think I will
find a spot in your project where you can carry some yarn down.
Yep, and because this has got your broken rib all the way down the sides, at the start of one of those sections is an easy place to. And again, at the back, just in case you do see anything, is the best place to put it.
The best place to put it.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't want it front and center.
No.
No. But that's really pretty. So, and I have the same color in the sparkle, right?
Yeah,
this is my sparkle
I love
color.
This color. Love it.
It is a beautiful color.
I know. So many things to knit and just not enough time.
Not enough time. So I also cast on a vest, and maybe I can talk about that now too. So I'm knitting, it's called the Vinder Vest. Loosely based. Loosely based. So I should preface it by saying that. And I'm holding 2 strands together. I'm using a Holst cone of Coast, and then I have a Drops Air Kid Silk mohair to go with it.
Is that color River?
This color is River. Yes. Is it, or is it Stone Wash?
It's River.
It's River? Okay.
Yeah.
And then But it's interesting, like you can't even tell that I'm using two colors. And when you hold them up, there is a slight difference, but they blend. This is a very heathered yarn, and it is creating the most glorious
I know, it feels amazing.
fabric, and I could not have anticipated how amazing this would feel, but I'm really loving it. So this is going to be a looser vest, and by now I've put up the picture on the side of the vendor vest for you, and you've probably said, it's not a loose vest, it's a fitted vest, and oh, it doesn't have a split hem, and it doesn't have a few of the things that I'm doing, but I'm sort of making my own pattern as I go, but I'm enjoying the process. So my vest will have a longer back than a front, and I did a split hem. Got all these ends that I should have wove in for the point of showing it off a little bit better. But so I did a split hem, and so the front is 2 inches and the back is 3 inches. And then with the way I've joined it, I used, I checked out a little tutorial by, is it Elizabeth Smith Knits? She does a lot of vests as well. And she has a little tutorial about how you can sort of over stitch your front to your back. So I did that. And then I also wanted to add a little detail down the side. So you can see that little bit of a, I don't have much done on this yet. I just started it.
Like an eyelet pattern?
Yeah, a little bit of an eyelet. And I stole that from a previous sweater that I've knit, and it was the Coastal Crop Raglan by Tiff Nealon.
Yeah.
And it's just a little bit of a lace insert that is going to run down the entire side of the project. And I think that I'm really going to like it. So I cast it on in a larger size, but what I plan to do is by the time I get up to like the bust, I don't want that to be oversized.
Right.
I want that to be my size. So I'm going to be decreasing.
So it's going to, so you're going to end up with kind of an A-line.
A little bit of an A-line, because we were talking about this in the kitchen today. I have hips. She doesn't have hips.
I want hips.
She wants hips.
She wants to give
I
me
would
some of her
donate my hips, but we haven't figured out how to make that happen. Anyway, so I want just a little bit of an A-line to go over top of a shirt. So along these little eyelet panels that I'm putting in on the side, I'm going to be periodically decreasing a couple of stitches so that by the time I get up to the bust area, I'm back to the size that I would normally have knit. Yeah. And this one is a V-neck, and I think it's just,
well,
you know what else I think this would be really good in is the Sonder patterns for the week. They have a weekend sweater.
Oh.
Or like something like the turtle dove.
Yeah. Yep.
I think this fabric that this creates just the most glorious
fabric.
Well,
anything that like, do you know what your stitch gauge is?
It's close to 20.
Okay. Well, that's not really loose then.
That's not loose. No. And I'm knitting on a 4.
Right.
No, so it's not really loose at all. It's amazing. I mean, this is Coast is a thin yarn.
Coast is thin. Coast is thinner than super soft.
Yes, but when you add that mohair, which is also very thin, but somehow together, the magic happens. Yeah. And this, I know that this is just going to be a beautiful vest. And I love this color. It's going to be great just with, blue jeans and a white shirt, or even, I think this will look nice with a patterned shirt too, because it's all a solid color.
Yep.
So anyway, that's what I'm working on.
I know that, like, the solid color vest is really nice with a patterned shirt, because sometimes in a pattern you can kind of maybe feel like it's a little overwhelming, the pattern, but when you put a solid color vest over the top of it, it just kind of tones the pattern down, but you still get it like on the sleeves and maybe a little bit here. And
and the other great thing about a vest is we're Canadian. The Canadian tuxedo is a denim jacket, and not having sleeves or adding bulk, because if anybody is familiar with our denim jackets, they're fairly fitted in the sleeves.
Yes.
So sometimes to get a full-size sweater under there is a little tricky.
Well, actually, even a winter coat, like if you've got a full-size sweater with sleeves, a lot of times it feels really bulky in the arms of your coat. But if you've got a vest and, let's say, just like a skinny turtleneck or a long sleeve blouse under it, it's more comfortable under your winter coat.
There's even a few, I've seen these and I've been tempted. I just don't know what to do when I get inside. So they're like an exaggerated dicky.
Oh yeah, yes,
Sari Nordland has a pattern. So from the front, it really looks like you've put a sweater on, a really nice, cozy, soft turtleneck with the one I'm thinking of that she has. It has a lot of cables down the front. It's really beautiful that you could wear underneath your coat. But then I'm thinking, okay, well, when I get inside, what do I do with it? Because this doesn't have a back.
Yeah.
So it has a little bit of a back. It just goes slightly down your shoulders, but it's basically so that you can get that great sort of oversized trench coat look with a beautiful cabled sweater. But it's really just it's like a faux. It's a ruse. It's a ruse. But
Maybe
then
for shopping, because then you can undo your coat and everybody can see it, but you keep it on.
Yes, yes, yeah. So I haven't really resolved myself around that idea yet, but maybe one of those are in my future too. So I do sort of like the idea. Yeah. Okay. So should we get into maybe some suggestions that we have? All right. So we've organized them into a favorites list on Ravelry for ourselves so that we can talk about them for the purposes of this video, and then I'll have some details going down the other side of Noelle when I do the editing. I'll let you start. I think you've got a few more in there than I do.
Okay. So what do I do? Just pull it up on here?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so the first one that I'm going to talk about is the Smoke Show, and it's a pattern by Tia Coleman, who is Baby Cocktails. And this one is, sorry, I'm just going to grab my book because I can't see that far away.
That's okay.
to see. So this is a worsted weight, but it's a light worsted weight. It's a 20 stitch gauge, 28 rows. This is a bottom up pattern and it's buttoned, but it's a V-neck. It's slightly oversized the way that you wear it. So she's shown it wearing it with, you know, just pants, but it's kind of like a little wide. It's not fitted at the waist. It's got a beautiful cabled pattern in it. And the yarn that she used is the Mayak Baby Yak Medium. I actually have some Estelle Llama worsted, and it is a light worsted that I think I might try with that because I've got it in a silver color and in a darker like mocha-like color. So I haven't decided, but I think that would be a perfect, to do it in the silver color would be like a perfect neutral. Yes, which we know I need to do. So it is, again, it is worked bottom up, which I don't do a whole lot of, but I think it should work okay for a, well, you're doing bottom up now. I think it should work okay for a vest. So it is worked in one piece up to the armholes, and then you kind of separate and do the two fronts and the back, and then join up your shoulders and then have to do the armbands after. But the button band is knit at the same time as you're doing the body. So that's good. You don't have to go back and pick up all around for the button band. Yes. Then when you get to the top, so when you do your shoulders, then you still continue knitting the button band itself, and then you sew it down to the back of the neck and then graft the center seams.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So yeah,
that's a great construction.
Yeah, so I thought
she writes great patterns.
She does, and it does have a fold over. Oh no, it doesn't. That's a different one. Sorry, wrong. Not this one. But anyways, I do think that that is going to be one that I cast on. Well, I would say soon, but that was before I started looking at all these vest patterns, and now I'm not sure what I want to knit next.
I want to cast on her new sweater that's out too.
Yes, smoked orange.
Smoked orange.
That looks a little bit similar to
does.
this in the front.
It looks very similar. Yeah. It's beautiful. Beautiful. So. Okay, so one of the ones that I had picked out to talk about is actually,
yours are probably all at the bottom.
Okay, mine are all at the bottom. So, okay, let's talk about this one.
Okay.
The Montpellier Slipover. Now, this is a design by, Anne Fiscum Soond. I hope I said that right.
She has November Knits.
November Knits, okay. Well, it's published in that.
Yes.
Yes. So I like this construction for a few reasons. It's kind of similar to what I was just chatting about with the sort of that dicky feel to it. It would feel very much a fabric like this. It's a light, airy fabric, but it's like an exaggerated turtleneck. And I like that idea because my neck is always cold in the winter. But this one has a little bit of a extension on the shoulders. They do stick out a little bit, but the whole garment is so light and drapey that I still think I would really like it. Some of the suggestions that they give, also really cost effective, the Sandnes Garn Pure Gint, and then you pair this with a mohair or any of the Isair yarns. But I think really any DK that you have in stash or that you could create, if you took two very light fingerings and then held that with a mohair, I think you'd get this construction. So for instance, like if I were to add 2 strands of coast in here with the mohair, I know that I would get my worsted weight. So that might be something that you could have a little bit of fun with too, because you could sort of choose 2 similar colors and then you'd end up with a slightly marled. The mohair would just mute everything, and I think it would be beautiful. I've seen a few other people that have made this one, and it does really appeal to me just because of its lightness and airiness. So I think that would be a great pattern to try. And it's at a 16 stitch gauge,
So it should work out fairly quickly.
fairly quickly.
Yep, and you don't have to do sleeves.
And no sleeves, no sleeves. Yeah,
That'll be a consistent theme.
the turtleneck could be a bit of a bear because I'm sure
It looks like ribbed.
It's ribbed for
Yep.
sure. But it's just I think this is that, and this, I mean, I would love to see this done in a neutral color. The designer has shown this in a charcoal gray. I think that would be great too, because I really think this would be like just that perfect neutral staple in your wardrobe.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one that I'm going to talk about is the Haley slipover. Just have to find it.
Right there.
Okay, so this
Oh,
one.
I looked at that one too.
Did you look at that one?
Yes.
This one is kind of an all over, kind of like what you would typically think of as an Aran, like an Aran knit, like a
more
traditional Aran knit.
Yes.
So it is done in a DK weight yarn, but the stitch gauge is 18 stitches. So I think there's a lot of yarns that you could choose to use it in. The pattern is by Iris H, and it is a top-down construction. It does have a V-neck, but it's not really deep. And I think this is kind of like, I love the look of like an Aran all over cabled sweater.
Yes.
But like when you get the sleeves on there, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
And it's hot.
It's a lot.
So if you've got this, you get the whole look of it, but you can just put like a blouse underneath it. Mm-hmm. And you get that same look without having all the bulk of the sleeves.
Yes.
And so the stitch gauge in this one, I think that you could probably use, like I said, she's a DK, but I think you could use a light worsted. Again, like any of these, when you're going to that DK, you could use like a strand of fingering held with a strand of mohair. Mm-hmm. And the nice thing about Vest too is your yardage that you're going to use total is going to be a whole lot less than if you're doing a whole sweater.
Yes. Absolutely.
So yeah, that one really called to me too. And the all over pattern is not just down the front, it's also down the back. And it is worked top down. So that's nice because kind of once you get to here, you can kind of try it on and make sure that you're, and that way you can kind of also lay it over and make sure that your V's the depth that you want it to be. So, okay.
The next one that I had pulled out is, oops. This one, the Ivy League vest. I have had this in my favorites probably for almost as long as I've been on Ravelry.
I've had that one in my favorites too, but neither of us have knit it.
And neither of us have knit it. And it's by Uni Jang, and it is an all-over color work, very traditional vest with a V-neck.
Yep.
It has things that I love about it, the corrugated rib, which is probably my favorite element in color work. For edging for any, and so you've got the corrugated rib at the hem, and then you have it in
they have it in the V, yeah.
In the
it
V.
looks really neat.
And I'm
in the
pretty
V.
sure it's steeked as well. So maybe not.
Steeks.
Yes, steeks. So that also appeals to me. Yeah, having said all of this, and for years, I mean, I don't know, when did I join Ravelry? 2007 maybe? So it's been in there for a long time. And I've always thought this would be the ultimate vest to wear underneath a denim jacket. And yet I haven't made it. Maybe this is the year. And it's a free pattern. I know. And it would be amazing. It's a fingering weight. The yarn that they suggest is a Harrisville designed Shetland, but I'm thinking a fingering weight, that is every Holst super soft yarn that I have.
Yep.
And there's a whole host of colors. It looks to me there's maybe 6 colors in that vest, 5 or 6 colors. And I know that I could put a palette together. Absolutely I could.
Yep.
I don't know why I haven't made this yet. Maybe, as I said, maybe this is the year, maybe, but it's a great looking pattern. And there's quite a few projects. There's just under 500 projects on Ravelry of people that have made that. So there's all sorts of inspiration, and it's a free pattern.
Yep. Yes.
Shame on me.
Yeah, it's a nice pattern. Okay, so the next one that I'm going to talk about is See My Vest. So this is a free pattern again on Ravelry. It is by Emily Baldwin, and it is a chunky weight, just a plain stocking stitch slip over vest. It is knit top down, and the stitch gauge in this one is quite it's recommended, a bulky yarn is recommended, but it's 12.5 stitches and 18.5 rows. So it would knit up really quickly. It's got options in the pattern to do it either with a straight hem or a split hem. Plus it also says that it's really good for beginners, and it does have extra little tip details in the pattern. And you could combine, even if you don't have a bulky weight yarn, like you could do your gauge swatch and combine a couple of yarns to give you that fabric. And I would think it would look really nice in something drapey with mohair in there, so you don't get the feel of a really bulky sweater, but you get the stitch gauge.
Yes. And I think that this would be a great stash buster if
Yes,
you started
yes.
pairing some things together.
Yep. So some of the ideas that they had in the pattern for yarn to use would be the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Bulky, or the Camarose Sneffnug, which is a blown yarn, so then you get that really nice light fabric.
Would the Drops Air work in there?
I don't know what the tension is of the
Okay.
Drops Air, but you could look at it. Would certainly be worthwhile looking at it. And then they suggest the Drops Andes, which is their heavier, chunky weight yarn.
Okay, yes.
So that would be really cost effective. And it looks like the vest just comes like basically to the waist. So I think it would be a good project for a beginner who hasn't really done a whole lot of garments. And
you're knitting those on a US 10 or a size 7 millimeter in Canada. So that project is going to go, like, that's a weekend project.
Yep.
That's
and
a
that
super
could,
quick
it
project.
could even be like a holiday where you could kind of put like a strand of
little bit of
sparkle
a
in there with
sparkle in
something,
there.
and then you'd have your perfect holiday slip over to put over, and it would look
Absolutely.
perfect just over like a white blouse and give it a really dressy. So I
Yes.
think that you could actually make this to be a really dressy vest, or just, a plain sweatshirty type vest.
For
So,
sure.
yeah.
For sure. I like that pattern.
And again, free pattern. So there you have the chance to go and look at the pattern, look at the details, and know whether it interests you or not before you even have to look at yarn to get for it.
And there's 91 projects in Ravelry, so that would give you a good feel for what other people are doing with
yep.
the project as well.
Yep.
That's a great one. Okay, and then I wanted to include, I really like the adult style of this vest. There's an adult pattern, but then I also wanted to, because we could have littles that we need to do some knitting for.
We do have littles.
You do have littles.
So do you.
And I have a little, yes. But this one is a little. The pattern goes up to 2 years. So it's the Hell Slipover Baby. Now there is a Hell adult, Hella. I think it's Hella. It's by Sanez Design, and it's a very structured vest. So I really like it as an adult vest. But when I saw that it was available for a baby, I thought, no, we have to show this one too. It's super cute. It has little ties at the side, so it's easy to put on. It's a DK at 18 stitches. And they recommend the double Sunday yarn, which is pretty accessible for anybody. And it's a really cost-effective yarn. I think it's in and around about $10 a skein, and that's for a 50-gram skein.
Yep. You could also use the Barocco Vintage DK, which would be perfect for baby knits.
Yes, absolutely. And I just really thought that the ribbing, the way it creates the shape on the vest is really interesting. And there's not too many projects for a baby on Ravelry of this, so I think you should make one. Not in a neutral. I think you
Not
can
in
make
a
this
neutral.
some
I know
pretty
it would be
colors.
really cute in a pop of color.
Yes.
So,
or something that just has like a little, even Barocco did come out with that baby yarn that has the pops of color
yes,
in it.
it is vintage, but it's got colors throughout it. I forget what it's called. I don't know if it's hand paint but yeah, it is still the same weight as the vintage DK, but it's got colors throughout it.
Yeah, and I think it would just be really cute. I like the shaping on it. So, okay. Next.
The next one that I have is the Alice Cabled Vest, and this pattern is actually, did I not put it in here?
No, you didn't put that one in.
Anyway, okay, this one is actually a crocheted vest. It is by Lee Sarton. It is an Aran weight. It's done with a 5mm hook, and when you go onto Ravelry, there is a free version of the pattern if you go in, but you can also buy a pattern without all the ads and things in it.
Okay, great.
It's knit in pieces, and you do have to seam it, but it's really it's really neat because you've got the whole cables and stuff in it as if you're doing a knitted one, but it's all in crochet. And it would be, I think, a good yarn to use for it would be like the Lion Brand Woolies. So you would still get a little bit of that drape, and then a lot of the Woolies colors have kind of that heathered shading to them.
Yes.
So it would look really nice in that. So again, it's either free if you go into the website, or you can buy a paid for version without all the ads.
Very nice.
So,
very nice. Okay, and then I had the, what else did I have? Okay, so this one is making its rounds.
yes.
And this is it's a unique looking pattern. It is the Mellow Vest by Irene Lynn. And I know that Beth just finished one
Yes.
in like a charcoal black. That was really interesting. But it is designed to look like the sort of 1970s Sherpa vest.
Yep.
And
or shearling, like a
shearling,
like,
yes. I mean, you probably had one.
I did.
Right?
Probably still have it.
So it's a very interesting concept, and it uses the Gepard, is it Gepard? Gepard Garn teddy bear yarn,
Yeah.
which is like sort of like an exaggerated boucle.
Oh, teddy deer.
Oh, teddy deer.
Yes.
Okay, teddy deer, sorry. And the Camarose Sneffug. And Sneffnug. Sneffnug. I've not knit with either one of those.
I would like to knit with the Sneffnug.
Yes.
The teddy deer one, it does. I don't know if I'd want a whole garment in it, but it does look really neat just for trim in certain places.
Actually, Sari Nordland has a vest just in the teddy deer
does she?
as well.
Okay.
And I really like it. So I don't know that I'm going to hop on this one to make this one. I'm very intrigued by it. There's not a lot of designs that have been completed yet in Ravelry. There's only 13 projects, but as I said, I've seen a few podcasters that are kind of hopping on to this and making it, and I'm intrigued. I am very intrigued. I like the look of it, and it sort of has that, I don't know.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
just
it's
something
cool.
about it.
Yep.
There is just something about it. I don't know that it has a great place in my wardrobe, but maybe it does.
But sometimes
it has
it's
that
just
sort of
even
vintage look.
The construction, or you want to try something different, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the clothing trends that are sort of making its way back to is the slow fashion and thrifting your wardrobe and finding vintage wear. And I think this kind of ticks a lot of those boxes.
Yep.
So it is a very unique vest, and
well, it would be something that you could like maybe have like a bulky turtleneck or something on underneath it, and then put that on top and forego your coat, like in well, not super cold weather, but cooler weather.
Or pair this up with another light sweater, right?
Yeah.
But I think it definitely has a place in the wardrobe. I see this, like with these great hats that people are sporting, the felt hats, the chunky style boots. I think, I could see myself wearing it. I just don't know that I need to run out and make it right away. But I'm going to leave it in my favorites. It's going to percolate for a little bit.
Yep.
I'm intrigued.
Yep.
I am intrigued.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so the next one that I'm going to talk about is another another crochet pattern. But this pattern, okay, there's two versions of it. So the button-up version is called I don't know how to pronounce this, the Dalio Slipover, and it is by Anna Erlandson, and is it Yarbo? Yarbo, the Yarrow website. And this pattern, I had to look at this again and again because it looks so much like it's knitted, but it's not, it's crocheted. But if you look at that, it is a crocheted pattern, but it looks like it's knitted.
Well, it's very similar to the Hella baby slipover in that the rib really defines the shape of the vest, right?
So, but it is knit side to side. Not knit. It's not knit. It's crocheted. It's crocheted side to side. So in the slipover version, it's crocheted in one piece side to side, and then you join up your shoulders. And then you do
really
like an edge. It
Yeah.
seems, but I did look at the pattern because the pattern is free.
Yes.
The pattern is free. I did look at it, and it does say it might be it might be for a more advanced crocheter.
Okay.
But I just thought I haven't done crochet in a while, but I do know how to crochet. I've never really followed a pattern like that, but I might be tempted.
I don't know that I've ever crocheted an actual garment. I mean, I've done all sorts of blankets, right? And small projects, but I don't think I've ever crocheted a garment. So the idea of that is definitely appealing.
So, like I said, there's two versions. So that one was the one that's buttoned up the front, but there's also a slipover version, and that one is the
I really like this version. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so it looks like a knit ribbed vest.
Wow.
So again, what you really would have to be careful with it is that you got your tension right, because you're doing it side to side. So you need to make sure that you get this length right, because you cannot adjust it as you go along.
Okay.
So you can adjust your width as you go along,
Okay,
but
yes.
not the overall length of the garment. But I thought it was really cool, and I know we have crocheters that are here, and this is
Absolutely.
a make along, not a knit along. So I just thought that was a really interesting pattern.
And
Again,
did
free.
you investigate any yarn types? It's calling for a worsted.
It's calling for worsted. So again, did I write down some down? Let me just check here. No, I didn't. But yeah, it is a worsted weight yarn, so I think there's lots of choice in that. The Durarum Natura Gilead is a good choice.
Oh, yes, and that has really nice stitch
And it has really
definition
nice
too.
stiff definition.
Yes,
If you
absolutely.
didn't want to, like, if you wanted something more cost effective, the Barocco Vintage.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of worsted weight yarns out there. I just think that because this is sideways, you would really have to make sure that you do a gauge swatch and make sure that you're getting the correct gauge for it.
Okay.
So, but I thought it was really interesting. It uses a 4.5 millimeter hook and a 6 millimeter hook. Because I had to go and look at it and look at the pattern to make sure that it wasn't knit with just a crocheted edge.
Yeah, yeah,
But
absolutely. And I've been saying for a while now that I want to crochet a garment. So I was thinking about a sweater, but maybe this is a really good spot to dive into.
yeah. So the one thing that the website does say, and that it does say on the pattern page, is that they're happy to provide this pattern free, but there is no support. So if you run into difficulties,
You're on your own.
you're on your own.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's actually only been 11 projects. So, but an adventurous crocheter.
Believe me, I'm not totally into crochet, but I would really like to try this. I think it looks intriguing.
Absolutely. I
So-
love that idea. I really like that idea.
So,
Okay. What else did we have? Oh, this one. The meander vest. I pondered over this one for the better part of a day, deciding if I could change
in
this
that.
into what I want it to do, or should I find something in my stash to make this. So this is the meander vest by Clara Pushin. And things I like about this is that sort of drapey, it's, got the large split hem. So the hem is really an integral component in the construction of this. And I like this little bit of a detail on the V-neck. I like the narrow shoulders again. I see this one more so over one of my dresses maybe than over a button-down shirt. I think this would look great over any of the, I have sort of like these, they're jersey knit dresses that are just, like a really long sleeve dress. I think something like that, it would look great over. I think this could be a really good wardrobe staple. It's a worsted yarn again. And they talk about using the Durarum Natura Gilead. But I mean, it's knit at an 18 stitch gauge. So there's lots of options that you might find. And again, so this isn't a high profile pattern. There's only been a few, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I was trying to see if I could make it work with any of my nudiden, but I think the gauge is a little small at 18 stitches. I think the nudiden is around 16. So, I mean, I could make it work, but
isn't that the nudiden held like together, like two strands, to get 16?
oh, is it?
I think so. I don't think
Okay.
I don't think at a single strand you'd get. I think at a single strand you might have to hold something else with it
Okay.
to get the. So you might have something like that.
Yeah, I might. I was also concerned though that maybe I would lose some of the patterning if I
The
went to
definition.
something, the
Yep.
stitch definition in the patterning. But I think it's a really interesting pattern, and I'm intrigued at this one too. There's so many
And
ideas.
it's got all that rib. You don't have to have that much rib. You could adjust it. You could bring that pattern
pattern
down
down.
more and do less rib if
Yeah,
that's what you
a good
wanted.
idea too.
So
Yeah. I just think I'm really liking that sort of split hem construction, and I like this longer bit
Yep.
at the back. So, and it comes in a wide range of sizes too. It goes from a size 1 all the way through to a 9. And she also gives the shoulder width, which
that's nice.
sometimes you don't always get that. You're always constructing for the bust. And the other thing about this pattern that I noticed when I was reading it is that basically she talks about how to measure if you need bust darts.
Okay.
And then she shows, she includes in the pattern bust darts for like a 2-inch, if you have more, when you're measuring the yourself, if there's more of a 2-inch difference from your full bust to your your body, then she suggests the small size darts. And then if there's a larger,
Okay.
then she suggests the larger bust darts. So I like that that's in there and that instruction is in there too. I typically don't need the bust darts. I don't have that great of a change in my measurements, but it's nice to know that they're there because we all have different body shapes, right? So, okay.
Okay, so the next one that I want to talk about is the Virginia top. And this is a pattern by Joji Locatelli. I believe her mom's name is Virginia, so I think it's named after her mom. I wanted to show this one because it's done in fingering weight yarn, because I know a lot of the ones that we've talked about are done in a heavier weight yarn, and you might want something that's just a little bit finer. So this one is 26 stitch gauge, 26 stitches and 34 rows, and that is it's got a textured stitch that kind of is in between panels of what looks like a little bit of a twisted stitch pattern. And it is done on a 3.5 millimeter needle. It's top down, and then it's finished. It's a V-neck, but it's finished with an I-cord edge, and then around the armholes is also finished with an I-cord edge. So I just thought it's kind of got an all-over pattern, but it's not like really super cable-y like some of the other ones that we showed. It's more a little bit of like a lace panel with just a little bit of light texture. And yeah, I thought it looked really pretty. She's showing it just with a plain white blouse underneath it, and again, you're going to end up with a much lighter garment, so probably even more transitional into when your weather starts to warm up a little bit. So,
okay. Okay, I have this one too.
Okay.
Another split hem that I really liked, but quite an exaggerated split hem. This is the Maple Vest by Yun Jung, and it is a fingering and a lace, so it works up to a sport. So again, it's a finer weight sweater, but I think, you know, the picture shows this one in a nice neutral, and I really like that idea of, I don't know, again, it's sort of this one's a longer vest, but it's got such a long split. So I do see this one over a long tailed shirt. It could easily go over a dress too. I think that would look really nice. They suggest using the Momonoki and then the knitting for olive mohair, but I really think that any fingering that you have held with a mohair is going to give you that gauge that you want. And I think it would be, you know, like it would be that really nice drapey feeling vest that would just be sort of that easy to pull on and just kind of run out the door. Maybe even more so like those early spring days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You know, heading to the coffee shop to knit with your friends, things like that.
Okay, so the next one I want to talk about, I thought was really interesting. This is called the Sprig Slipover Vest. It is by Sarah Opie. It is a DK weight, but it's actually done with mosaic knitting. So I thought you've got your color work, but it's done with mosaic knitting. It's also buttoned down the side, which gives you the option of having the buttons done up so that you've got like a full slip over, or wearing it with some of the buttons undone for that kind of you know, open side look. So it is knit flat. I believe that you eventually join up, so you do one side and then you join up and then go down the other side. But there's very little purling. The only purling in it is actually done in the rib, the bands. The rest of it is done using knit stitches and slip stitches. So the pattern does have 4 colors, or an added 5th if you wanted to do a contrast color for all your bands, but you could easily pull out one of the colors that you're using and do your bands in that. I just thought it gives you the option of having a color work without actually having to do stranded color work. And I really like doing mosaic knitting.
Yes.
And I think a perfect yarn for this, it's called calling for a DK weight, but I think the perfect yarn for this would be the Juniper Moon Farms Patagonia.
Absolutely.
So, because they've got a wonderful color range, the colors are heathery, they're kind of cohesive, they go together, and then overall, because it's not a super heavy DK, you're not going to end up with a really heavy garment. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So, and then
I think that's all I had in
okay,
there.
I just have a couple more. One is the Overdrive Vest, and it's one that's just recently come out. It's by Lily Kate France. It's very reminiscent of the one that you showed at the beginning.
The Montpellier.
Yes, but this one is done in a little bit lighter weight. It does say it's worsted weight, but it's a 19 stitch gauge, so I think it's more on the light worsted side. And it does have like the turtleneck detail on it, and then it's got a really neat texture in the shoulders, and then it's got wide armholes, so it's kind of basically that really just like drop over everything kind of look. Like it's got a really relaxed fit, but it's not a super long one. It's just like looks like it comes to about the hip bone. I just really like the
really
shape
pretty
of it,
over a
and
skirt.
yeah, I just really like the shape of it. Some of the suggestions for yarn in that one were the Gilead, which is a really great
Yes.
worsted weight yarn, or the Malabrigo Rios.
That would be pretty too.
Yep, or the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes.
Okay.
Or like a Plutalope, but the Plutalope held with like a mohair or an alpaca.
Okay.
And because this doesn't have a whole lot of different stitches in it, I think that's the perfect place to use like your unspun yarn, because you're not looking at a whole lot of detail and stitch definition. So, but you would just get like that overall nice kind of fluffy throw over look.
Yeah, great.
So, and then the last one that I have to show is another one by Irene Lynn. I know Kelly showed one by Irene Lynn, but this is called the Ran Vest, or I'm not sure if it's Ran or Ranny Vest. Now the pattern says that it calls for a bulky weight yarn, but really the stitch gauge is 19 stitches, so I'm thinking it's more similar to the one we just looked at, like a worsted weight. It is top down, but what I really like in this is the sides are totally split, and you can choose to do it in a short version, or they've actually got a tunic length in it.
So you
looks
could go
really cool.
over top of a dress, but it sort of has that exaggerated dress feel.
Yeah.
But then over top, yeah. Or,
Yeah.
I mean, you could put it over top of jeans and everything too. But
Yeah.
I think it would look really nice over like sort of a flowy linen style dress.
Yep. And
That
it's
would look
got
great.
V-neck, and it does have kind of a cable stitch pattern in it. And yeah, I just think I like the versatility of the long versus the short. It's knit with 3 different needles, so I think you must use different depending where you are in the pattern, but from a 4 millimeter up to a 5 millimeter. And Irene Lynn really does, we don't have time to talk about everything here, but she really does have some nice vest patterns. And yeah, so, hopefully there's some inspiration there. And I mean, there's obviously some of we don't expect that if you're joining the Make-Along that you specifically need to pick any of these patterns. We want you to pick whatever you want. There's a huge array of patterns out there. There's some great basic ones by Petite Knit, her Stockholm slipover, which there are quite a few patterns done.
Yes.
There's also her weekend slipover, holiday slipover. And, so you can go in and you can say, okay, I want to do a chunky one, so I want a big gauge. Go in and find something like that. Or if you want something a little finer gauge, there's also a lot of variety in that.
Yeah, it's great.
I just now have so many vests on my list that I don't know where to start.
I know my favorites list is this like constant evolution of things that I'm, I don't know, working my way through. But now vests are kind of there. And I'm thinking, well, every single sweater gets me stuck on sleeve island. So at least with a vest, I can't complain about that. But
well, I have a lot of sweaters in my wardrobe, and I don't have a lot of vests, so it's time to add
something
a few
new.
vests. And I find I do wear my knitwear all the time, but I'm not wearing the blouses and the shirts and things that I have because I'm wearing my sweaters. So if I have vests, then maybe I'll wear those more. But let's be real. I'll go out and buy a blouse or a top that matches the vest that I make.
Of course. So just to recap then about our what is the title again?
It is Make a Vest, Give Sleeves a Rest.
Yes, okay. Make-Along.
Yes.
It is. So it started at the beginning of January, and we are running that through until the end of March. And you can join that on our Ravelry group. You can become a member on the Ravelry group, the Knits and Pieces, and enter your FO in there. There'll be a prize at the end of March that we'll draw for. And we're just really looking forward to seeing what everybody can come up with.
We're excited to see all the patterns that you pick, because like I said, I could have spent hours in there looking at vest patterns.
I did spend hours
well,
in there
I did
looking.
too, but I could spend even more time, but that won't get them knit.
No.
So now it's time to knit. So.
Absolutely not. Well, I think that's all we have on the vests, but I know that we're not wearing vests, but we should mention at least what we're wearing.
Okay.
So you go ahead.
Okay, I am wearing the Calabash sweater by Beth McDonald Stone. This was a test that I did for Beth, but the pattern is now out on Ravelry. I did it in Full Moon Fibers, 100% Rambouillet fingering weight yarn, but it is a woolen spun, so it actually, even though I think it's 250 yards to 50 grams, but you can actually knit it at a looser gauge because it's that woolen spun yarn. And then my contrast color is the Knitting Loft Care in the color Baby Doll. And I love the Baby Doll yarn, or the Care yarn. Like, it just gives, I don't know, it's like a more luxurious yarn, and then paired with a more rustic yarn, you just get that nice overall like feel. Yeah. The pattern has a split hem down at the bottom and a slight A-line shape. So, like, I don't know, I love it. It's comfortable. Yeah, so that's what I'm wearing.
And I am wearing the Wilfreda sweater by Vinca Rolled. And this is a combination of two yarns again. So I went with the Holst Super Soft in a very light colored gray, and then I've paired this with Leo and Roxy's mohair. And this colorway of mohair is very variegated, and I've never done a sweater like that where the mohair was the foreground of the sweater. I've usually used the mohair to either accentuate a color or to tone down a busy yarn. But this time I wanted to see what it would look like paired with a very busy mohair. And this colorway is actually wallpaper, which Jolynn dyed to match the wallpaper that's at the front of their store by their cash register. And I couldn't be happier with the colors that came out. It's just,
well, I know.
It's a beautiful, beautiful painterly pooling.
You would not ever know. Like, it looks amazing. You would not ever know that it's the mohair that has the color.
No, it really...
You would not.
No. And so I would definitely call this experiment a success. I absolutely love it. I love this pattern, too.
It's a gorgeous pattern.
A pattern... I just realized that my bra strap's probably been hanging out there the whole time. But this pattern, to me, this could be the new ranunculus. Like, it's got this interesting cable detail that runs, it looks like it's going sideways across the sweater, but it knits very similar to the same construction of the ranunculus, and the fit of the sweater is very similar. So I just did a little bit longer than a 3/4, I guess more of a bracelet length. I like to keep it above my watch. And also, I should mention too that if I look similar to the blanket that we're in front of, this color of mohair is actually in this blanket as well. So this blanket, Sarah very graciously spent a day with me, and I helped her to warp the loom and then do all the other things to weave the blanket. And I have a huge appreciation to the people that are out there weaving, because it was a big job. It was a big job, and it was on a 48-inch loom. And so this blanket is made up of a bundle that I actually won from the Little Red Mitten, and we were there for their anniversary, and I was the grand prize winner, and I got 5 skeins of yarn, and one of the colorways is the wallpaper. And the wallpaper in the fingering weight will be, it's these colors right here behind Noelle. And then I did switch out because they had their anniversary color was in there as well. And I had already bought a skein of that. So I didn't want to sacrifice that to the blanket, because 2 skeins is a sweater. So I held on to that. Or a vest, for sure, yes. So I switched it out with just a solid gray, which is what you see here, and that's a hazel knits. And then I also added in a tiny little bit of gray mohair as well, a heavier worsted weight mohair. And so I wove a sum total of about this much on the blanket, and then the day was over because that was quite late in the day. And then Sarah, so kind, finished weaving the blanket for me. I absolutely love it. It hasn't been washed yet, but I have been I've done the tassels. This is my contribution. I have the sore thumb to prove it. And anyway, I love the idea of weaving. I don't think I'll be running out to buy a loom anytime soon.
I need to do more of it, but I do really like it.
But it is an entirely different way of
like
working through your fiber.
Well,
and
it does
move
move pretty
quick.
You know what, Kelly? You just buy another stash for weaving. It is.
No,
come on.
but I mean,
let me tell you.
Of using I mean, of using your fiber to create, like working your way through. So, like, you have this yarn, and you can knit it, or you can weave it, or you can crochet with it. And I think it's just interesting how there's so much creativity around fiber, of the different things that you can do with it. And actually, yesterday I was quite proud of this little bit. So my washer broke, and I had to buy a new washer, and it was delivered yesterday. And I was up on the dining room table working on the fringe. And the delivery guys came in, and they set the washer up, and as the one was leaving, he was walking by the table and he says, wow, he goes, that looks like a big job. And I said, well, yeah, and the blanket was woven as well. Like, so it's, he goes, really? He says, and he goes, like, how? And I said, oh, on a big floor loom. So I mean, he noticed, and he said that his mom is a crocheter. And I said, oh, I'm a knitter. And he said, I don't really know the difference. And I said, one stick or two. That's what my mom says, he said. So anyway, I thought that was really cool. So it just goes to show that, you know, you may think that this little hobby craft of ours is not noticed, but
yeah,
it does. It gets noticed, and it makes you feel good about the garment that you're wearing, whether you sewed it or knit it, or whether you're cuddling up underneath it. And it's just...
I know, I definitely have to make a fingering weight blanket.
Yep.
So, but again, that will be, I'd probably buy the yarn to make it. No, I wouldn't. I have lots of yarn I can make it with, but yeah, it's my loom is only a 32 inch, so I did actually get an extra heddle in the conversion set to learn how to do like double weave so that you can actually weave double the width. But unfortunately, the class I was going to go to, I ended up, that was when we came back from New York when I was sick, and so I ended up not going to it, and then COVID hit, so there hasn't been a class. So I'm really looking forward to being able to do that, because that would mean I could weave up to like a 60-inch across blanket, which would be amazing.
Yes, yeah. Sarah has made some incredible blankets.
She has, gorgeous.
Her home, it was the first time I'd been to her house, and I have to say, she has a very crafty house. I loved every little minute of it. You know, my eyes were just looking everywhere. She has beautiful fiber textiles, you know, everywhere. And then she's also been weaving these little sort of
rugs.
Yeah. And that I'm really...
Well, I have to show, I don't know if I've showed you, like I have a little, I did do a rug weaving class. And I didn't do a whole rug, but we had to do a practice, and it would look this. I'll show it to you. I'll show it on one of the knit chats.
Okay.
Like it actually would look amazing as a rug. And now I'm getting inspired again. Okay, now I'm getting inspired again for weaving when I'm not going to be able to
when you're not going to be able to get off the couch. I know. So
anyway.
Okay, well, I guess we should wrap this up, because now we're just, you know, we've moved into just a full-on
Chatting.
conversation. Now we're just chatting.
Right. Sorry.
But that's okay. That's okay.
So anyway, thanks for watching.
Yes.
You know, thanks for supporting us, and we hope that you're excited about the Vest Makealong as we are, and we can't wait to see lots of your inspirational photos in the chatter and all the finished products.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Anyway, so remember, make a vest, give sleeves a rest.
That's our new mantra.
Yeah.
Take care, everybody.
Take care. Bye, everyone.
Happy knitting.
I know you're thinking about that rustic.
Okay.
Composed.
Game face.
Game face. Okay. How do we start these? It's not like a live. Hi, everybody.
I know. Okay, let's just say that.
Okay. You start, because I always start the lives.
What are we calling this make-along?